Hey, Bill O'Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News for Tuesday, August 9th, 2022. Stand up for your country. Now, you watch and listen to us, I know, for the best, most honest news analysis in the country, and that is what we will give you tonight on this big Trump FBI story, which has huge implications for the United States of America. This is a major story. Now, I'm going to give you a lot of information. As I always suggest, you might have a pen and paper handy. I'm going to speak a little slower today because we have so many facts to give you, and facts is what drives a story like this, not emotion, not partisan hysteria. You get plenty of that. Here, you're going to get what we know and how we know it. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. So this is a political tsunami. This will affect the November midterm election vote and the 2024 presidential vote. So because of that, it affects every one of us in this country. Even the people who don't pay attention don't care. There will be a lot of unintended consequences coming out of this situation. I will run down some of them for you. But first, the facts. Federal Judge Bruce Reinhardt of the Southern District of Florida approved the warrant yesterday to raid Mr. Trump's Palm Beach home. Okay? Judge Bruce Reinhardt. The warrant came after the National Archives in D.C. asked the Justice Department to investigate whether former President Trump broke the law when he took documents to Mara-a-Lago, his home. That was in February. Okay? The search warrant does not suggest that criminal charges are in play or will be forthcoming. However, in order to get that warrant, there has to be the suggestion that a crime might have occurred. Might is the key word. All right? You don't get a warrant unless you can produce evidence of that. And we don't know what the evidence is. We don't know what Judge Reinhardt saw. I don't know if we'll ever know it. We should know it, but we don't know it now. So, according to Eric Trump, who was on television last night, 20 federal cars with 30 FBI agents descended on Mara-a-Lago. Trump's lawyer, Christina Bobb, was there. The Trump organization was given a heads up that this would occur. She was on the premises. All right? And Donald Trump himself said that the raid was not unannounced. So it wasn't an ambush or anything like that. The FBI spent the majority of the day at Mr. Trump's residence. All right? CNN reports that the Biden administration was not given a heads up in advance about the raid. That is probably true because the Attorney General of the Justice Department, Merrick Garland, would want to give his boss, President Biden, cover in case everything goes wrong. Okay? It's Garland who ordered this, and Christopher Wray, the FBI chief, carried it out. So it makes sense that Biden didn't know. Okay? Biden did not mention this in his first speech today. We are monitoring what he does all day. Most likely it will be mentioned later today after we get finished taping this. And we'll have that, of course, tomorrow. I will tweet about it, so stay close to me. It's at Bill O'Reilly if you want to get on a tweet ban. All right, now the National Archives believes that Donald Trump had 15 boxes taken to Mar-a-Lago from the White House. That's what they believe. All right? A grand jury, according to the New York Times, not a reliable source, but a grand jury has been called to look into this matter. Is that true? I would say probably yes, because that's what you would have to show the judge, evidence submitted to a grand jury to get the warrant. Under the Presidential Records Act, a president cannot remove classified information. He has to send it over to the National Archives. He can't destroy it. He can't bring it to his house and play with it or whatever. Okay? So all presidents and White House staff are expected under law to preserve documents that are classified information. Now, we don't know what happened. Nobody knows what happened. I hope we do so, because, again, this is a pretty important situation. But right now, I can't say if Donald Trump removed documents that he should not have removed. I don't know. All right, and nobody else knows either, so if you're going to spend hours watching cable TV, it's just blather. Bilge, B-I-L-G-E, bilge, word of the day. Okay. The perception around the world, of course, is far different than in the United States. Around the world, they don't know our system. They don't understand warrants. They don't know due process. They don't know anything. So the headlines, I'll just give you a couple. In China, FBI search for Mara-a-Lago may stop Trump from running again in 2024. That's the headline in China. In Iraq, and that goes all over the news, all over the Middle East, IraqiNews.com, it is, quote, the recovery of the boxes raises questions about Trump's adherence to presidential records laws enacted after the 1970s Watergate scandal. So it'll be spun negative against Donald Trump and the USA. And people overseas will say, oh, Trump is going to get arrested, he's going to go to jail. That's what will happen. Now, tomorrow on this broadcast, we'll report what the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, does, and that's the most powerful news agency in the world other than the American news outlet. So we'll have that for you tomorrow. Now, on cable news, of course, all hell broke loose. This is great for ratings on both sides. I'm going to play you two montages, both 46 seconds in length. Trying to be as fair as I can. First is the pro-Trump reaction. Go.
But we also have to keep in mind that the other fearsome agency of the U.S. government, the DOJ and FBI, have also now been incredibly weaponized against their political opponents. And that includes the number one target, which is Donald Trump.
I was a federal agent. I raised my right hand. And I swore to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. And I love this country. This is a freaking disgrace. A disgrace. We don't live in Cuba. We don't live under Kim Jong-un. We live in a constitutional republic, a representative democracy. You have a bunch of FBI agents raiding the home of a former president because they don't like his politics? Are you kidding me?
Okay. And here is the anti-Trump reaction.
Nothing like this has ever happened before, and we don't know how this ends. Tonight's news that the FBI has raided the home of the immediate past president of the United States, it feels both astonishing and sort of inevitable in equal measure.
I think this is probably a moment for Donald Trump, who Teflon Don, who has never really seen any accountability over his entire personal and professional career and pushed every constitutional legal boundary you could conceive of. In this moment, for the first time, is seeing the wheels of justice push back against him. And I think what this demonstrates, as your other guests have explained, is that Merrick Garland is willing to carry this ball across the finish line, regardless of the fallout.
Now, that was a woman named Kim Whaley, who teaches law at American University. And this is the scandal of our country. That woman convicts Trump. She's a law professor. It's insane. It really is. Now, the FBI will be damaged no matter what. No matter what happens, even if Donald Trump did something wrong, by doing what the Bureau did yesterday, it's going to be damaged perhaps forever. The reason is the FBI is already suspect. So if you were watching us last Thursday, you saw our analysis of Christopher Wray's testimony in front of the Senate, the head of the FBI. It was awful. He was terrible. It was beyond belief. I wrote Killing the Mob, which is heavy FBI-centric, tracing the Bureau from its very beginnings all the way up to the War on Terror. This is Killing the Mob. And J. Edgar Hoover was a villain. He weaponized the FBI all day long. There's no doubt he did. But the Bureau did have the respect of the American public. It does no longer. Unless Christopher Wray comes out shortly and says, we did this because of this reason, here it is so all Americans can see it, he's through. He's finished in the court of public opinion, because you can't just say, oh, I can't comment because there's an active investigation, which is what Wray does all day long. Russian collusion, oh, Wray can't comment. All right? His predecessors, Comey and McCabe and Strzok and all those that have been proven to use the FBI's power to try to damage Trump before and after his presidency, oh, Wray can't say anything about it. And remember, Wray was appointed by Trump. Some of you were, well, why did he do it? I don't know why he did it. Okay? I asked him, President Trump, and he said, well, he was recommended by the highest authorities. I assume that was former Attorney General Bill Barr. Okay? Wray has a conservative past. But now he's an embarrassment. Again, that testimony, if you didn't see us and your BillO'Reilly.com premium concierge members, if you didn't see my analysis of Christopher Wray last week, you got to watch it. He was embarrassing. That's not who should be running the most powerful law enforcement agency in the world. Okay, so the FBI is damaged no matter what. We have a history now regarding Donald Trump of blatantly unfair behavior by the federal authorities. Russian collusion was a debacle. Finally got straightened out, but no action was taken against Comey, McCabe, Strzok, or the other FBI that tried to take Trump down illegally. No action taken against them. They still have their pensions. Then you had the two impeachments driven by Nancy Pelosi, which were ridiculous. As a historian, I can tell you it was absurd what Pelosi tried to do. And now you've got this document thing. So you have a situation where the American public is rapidly losing faith in American government and law enforcement. The open border is a catastrophe. You have any faith in Homeland Security? Do you? All right. Now I'm going to give you a refresher on Hillary Clinton. Okay? So Hillary Clinton was charged or alleged the same thing, that she took classified information and put it on her personal computers and phone illegally. All right? And she did. The FBI seized her personal computer in August 2015, 7 years ago, found there was an astonishing amount of classified documents on it, and nothing happened. So the FBI, at the end of its investigation, said Hillary Clinton, then Secretary of State, took 2,000 documents she should not have taken. 2,000. Nothing happened. And going back further, you might remember the National Security Advisor under President Clinton, Bill Clinton, a man named Sandy Berger, who did ridiculous things. Roll a tape.
This is an act that is not heavily enforced. It certainly has not historically been criminally enforced. In fact, some of the most egregious cases were handled rather lightly. Sandy Berger being an example, he actually stuffed documents in his socks and snuck them out of a secure location, leaving them at a spot to be retrieved later. He received no jail time and just pled guilty to a misdemeanor. He wasn't even forced to lose his security clearance permanently. It was just a 3-year suspension.
Okay, so what Jonathan Turley is trying to get across is this is not a big deal in the sense that the federal government in the past has not taken it that seriously, but now, of course, it's changed. It's changed, all right? So Hillary Clinton skates on it. The FBI makes a big show of a raid at Trump's place. Now, I just got late information that the FBI had been in to talk to Trump in June, and the former president did hand over some documents. But then Merrick Garland, the Attorney General again, said, well, you didn't turn over all of them. And so he went to the judge to get a warrant, and that's what happened. Okay. That is the memo. I think I have covered it as well as anybody on this planet can cover it. If you don't agree, bill@BillO'Reilly.com, bill@BillO'Reilly.com. Let me know what you think. Does inflation and the looming prospect of recession have you worried about your savings? Endowments, pension funds, and the ultra-wealthy have been quietly investing in farmland for decades, and it's paying off for them. Farmland returns have averaged 11% per year for the last 30 years, even despite the dot-com crash, Great Recession, and COVID-19. When inflation goes up, so too does farmland value. Until recently, farmland investments have mostly been accessible only to institutions and elites. Acre Trader breaks this barrier. Acre Trader makes it easy to invest in thoroughly reviewed farm offerings, quickly and securely. Their team of agriculture experts does all the work while you collect passive income from your farmland investment. So put your money in a time-tested asset by visiting acretrader.com, or you can call 888-958-1470 and tell them O'Reilly sent you. That's acretrader.com. Joining us now from Arlington, Virginia, is Jamil Jaffer. Now, he has quite the resume, Mr. Jaffer does. He's the executive director of the National Security Institute at the Scalia Law School. He is a former associate White House counsel under President Bush the Younger and former counsel to the Assistant Attorney General for National Security. So Mr. Jaffer knows the turf. Number one, did I leave anything out or make any mistakes in my 14-minute analysis, Mr. Jaffer?
You know, Bill, I think you covered it pretty well. The one interesting thing I might raise that the president might raise if, in fact, charges are brought is, you know, the president has classification authority, original classification authority. He can decide what's classified and what's not. And so the president, in theory, could have declassified these materials. For all we know, President Trump's defense will be, even if I did take classified material down to Mara-a-Lago, I declassified it before I left office. As a result, in the materials that I have here are not classified. Right, and that may put a pin in a lot of what the Justice Department is bringing. Now,
would he have, if he took that tack, would he have had to put something in writing to show that he declassified the stuff?
Well, you know, traditionally, Bill, that would be the case, but a lot of presidents and other members of the executive branch who have official original classification authority don't necessarily do so. So, for example, President Trump, as we know, tweeted out an alleged picture of an Iranian missile. I think a lot of people believe that picture was taken using classified sources, classified satellites. The president tweeted it out. I think by definition, having put it out in the public press, he made the determination to declassify it. The president could take the same argument, right? It's traditional, yes, for presidents to fill out a form that says, you know, I'm declassifying this, but it's not, I don't think, required by law. And as a result, president could say, I told my colleagues, or I made a decision, you know, and here we are.
Okay.
By moving to Florida, I made a decision to declassify them.
Listening to you, Mr. Jaffer, and correct me if I'm wrong, it seems that you think this FBI raid was unnecessary.
Well, you know, it's a hard question, because if the president did violate, for example, the Presidential Records Act, the Federal Records Act, but just by removing documents, that alone is a violation of the law. On top of that, this question of mishandling or misstoring classified documents, unless he declassified them, which you might argue, right? All of those things are potential criminal activities. So can the FBI investigate it? Sure. Should they investigate it? Maybe. Conducting a search warrant at a former president's house, something that's never been done before, that's a pretty strong step. It's an aggressive move. They clearly think they have enough to justify it. Clearly, a federal judge, a magistrate judge down in Florida, believes they had enough probable cause to determine that a warrant was available to be issued under the Fourth Amendment. So, you know, and then the hard question is, you know, do you prosecute the immediate past president? You know, and if you do, right, what are the political implications?
They can't do it with the Hillary Clinton thing on the resume. You just can't. I think, and this is speculation, so I want my audience to know that I don't speculate much, but this is important. I think this is what they call a fishing expedition to try to get January 6th material. That's what I think this is.
Well, look, I mean, that may be the case, Bill. Certainly, they have at least probable cause to believe a crime was committed. I think if I were guesstimating what they filed with the court, we don't know what they filed with the judge down there in Florida. But the fact that the National Archives did take possession of 15 boxes a few months back, took them up to D.C., and then made a referral to the Justice Department suggests that the National Archives determined that some of those materials that they took back from Mar-a-Lago were in fact classified at the time that they took possession.
I want to clarify to the audience what you're saying. They did remove other documents earlier this summer. The federal and Trump allowed that. Trump knew it was happening and said, "Yeah, go take them. This is further." Okay, so when you have a situation where half the country at least believes this is politically motivated, and you have no explanation on the part of the Biden administration, the Attorney General, the head of the FBI, nothing, no explanation whatsoever. Shouldn't the Biden administration get out there now and tell the American people, for the sake of unity, this is why we did what we did? Shouldn't they do that now?
Look, I think this is a very tough position they're in. I think having made the decision to investigate and potentially prosecute and conduct a search warrant at a former president's house, you've got to defend the FBI and the Justice Department against the claim that they're behaving politically.
You have to.
And somebody's got to get out there and do that.
And there's no law violation to say this is what we gave to the judge. This is why we got the warrant. That's not a violation of law, is it?
Well, if there's an ongoing grand jury investigation, actually, this is actually really interesting. If there's an ongoing grand jury investigation, they can't reveal information before the grand jury. That would be a violation of the grand jury rules. There's a Rule 6E that prevents anybody, the grand jurors, the individuals, bringing the charges and the like, they can't reveal anything before the grand jury. So that might be one reason they're going to say that they're not able to talk about it. That being said, I think that it's a tough position to put the Justice Department in, for the White House, for the AG, for the FBI, to not come out and explain, look, here's the basis for the investigation.
You can do it in a general way.
Right.
Okay. Final discussion point. Unless Donald Trump did something heinous here, and remember, Hillary Clinton, 2,000 classified documents on her personal computer and phone, 2,000. Unless Trump did something really heinous, this is going to help him because it makes him look like a martyr, a victim. It continues the Russian collusion nonsense, the impeachment nonsense. Now they're raiding his house so that his supporters will be more vehement in his behalf. And those on the fence in the independent area will say, enough's enough. I'm going to vote for this guy just because I hate the other people. Do you see that point?
Yeah, Bill, I've got to believe that the Justice Department, the Assistant Attorney Generals there, the FBI Director, their immediate staff, the AG himself, had to have thought this through, right? And said, is this going to actually hurt the reputation of the FBI, the Justice Department, as you've laid out, the accusations of politics? They knew that was coming. Is that going to be net worse, or is going after and prosecuting this potential crime more important? Where is the value? Ultimately, prosecutors, attorneys general, line prosecutors in the field, FBI agents, they make these calls all the time. They they exercise prosecutorial discretion.
Not at this level. This is enormous. Anyway, Mr. Jaffer, I hope you'll do me a favor, a kindness, and follow this and let us know when you see something that's very important. We'll bring you back. Obviously, you know what you're talking about. You're not a partisan. You're telling the people straightforward what you believe. So I hope you will help us out in that regard, and we thank you very much for appearing today. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. I am an AMAC member, and you should be too. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits, insightful takes on today's news, and a magazine full of uncensored content that you will not find anywhere else. Most importantly, AMAC is working tirelessly to preserve the freedoms enshrined and secured by our Constitution. AMAC has become one of the most impactful organizations in America because more than just talk, AMAC gets things done. They are pushing back against the efforts to defund our police, weaken the borders, and replace your freedom with government control. But they need your help. Stand with me and more than 2 million patriots and join AMAC today at amac.us. That's AMAC.us. amac.us, and tell them O'Reilly sent you. So here is a final thought about money. A big discussion with one of my urchins last night about money. And it's hard because we are an affluent family and they've seen the spigot their whole life. But now they're earning their own money. And they need to manage that. And they need to have discipline. So you don't just buy something because you want it. That's insane. But a lot of people do, not just urchins. Oh, I want it, I got to get it. No. How much is it worth to you? What's its importance to you? No impulse buying. The reason that most Americans, and I mean that, most don't have much reserve is because they waste money. You know how hard you work for your money? And my urchin worked real hard this summer. But now he's like, I said, no, this is college money. I pick up all the tab, but spending money is on him. Okay? And so we had a big thing on disciplined spending and delaying immediate gratification, which is what it's all about. Too many of us don't have that. Well, I want it, I gotta get it. And they put it on your credit card, and then all of a sudden the VIG rolls in at 18%. You're paying a credit card because you wanted that above what you paid. That makes sense to you? So don't waste money. Money is power. Money is security. Money protects you. If you don't have it, you're defenseless. Not about greed. It's not about a Lamborghini. I mean, it's about amassing security for your old age, to educate your children in case something bad happens to you health-wise. Come on, come on. Anyway, I think I won the debate last night, but I'm not sure. But I have a joint account with my urchin, so I know what he's doing. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. I hope you got a lot out of it tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Where do you want to travel next? With ever-changing travel and entry requirements, different opinions about where to go, and so many destinations to choose from, can be a challenge to get started. So I want to introduce you to Wheels Up Travel Company. The Wheels Up Travel Company is veteran-owned by Christy Fitzharris. Christy and her team specialize in ocean and river cruising, golf vacations, yacht charters, luxury getaways, and more. When you work with a certified professional travel agent like Christy, you'll be guided through the entire process. They don't stop communicating with you even after you provide your credit card. They are available 24/7 for support before, during, and after your travel. Schedule a free vacation consultation today by visiting wheelsuptravelco.com or call 253-327-3515. That's wheelsuptravelco.com. Mention Bill O'Reilly sent you to save 50% on your travel vacation planning fee.
Bill O'Reilly is back on TV and only on The First. No Spin News, every weeknight at 8 p.m. Eastern, only on The First.